Good afternoon. Our course code is MMPH001 and the subject is Organizational Structure and Design Block 2. Let us first know what is organizational structure. Organizational structure is the alignment of different parts of the organization. So what are the different parts of the organization? The different parts are different departments, the stakeholders of the organization, the employees of the organization, managers, authorities, everybody who are working in the organization as well as who are associated with the organization. Those are the parts of the organization. So what is organizational structure? It is the alignment of all these parts together and establishment of a relationship between different parts so that it can achieve maximum organizational performance in the long run. So why do we establish one organizational structure and why is it required? Organizational structure has to be designed very carefully by each and every organization because if it is a good organizational structure, it will result in the success of the organization in the long run. And if the organizational structure is not good or not effective enough, then the organization will not run in the long run. There may be failures in the future. And this organizational structure, which is chosen very carefully, will affect ultimately to achieve organization's goals and objectives. So the ultimate aim of any organization is to achieve the goals and objectives of the organization. If the structure is chosen carefully and meticulously, then it will be successful in the long run. That is the objective of organizational structure. Then we will see the importance of organizational structure. So, after a good organizational structure establishment, we can now find out who is the authority. A clear definition of authority is known to the organization's people, and the responsibility of each and every employee can be known. And the third one is the relationship. The relationship between each employee with the other employee as well as with the authority can be known from a good organizational structure. The other importance is better understanding of the objectives and the policies of the enterprise. Better understanding of the objectives which are set at the top level. Objectives are first decided at the top level, then it is disseminated to the other levels of the employees, and it has to be well communicated to everybody in the organization. So after we set up a good organizational structure, we can now understand what is the objective of the organization and the policies of the organizations led by the authority. Then third, the importance of organizational structure also lays down the communication channels, like which type of communication channel, whether it is a lateral communication channel or top-down approach. So which kind of communication channel will be adopted, that we can know from the organizational structure. Then again, it facilitates proper administration. If the organizational structure is good, if the organizational structure is effective, then it can give a good administration, it can give rise to a good administration. So ultimately, it leads to a healthy organizational culture. It also helps to coordinate activities of the component parts in order to facilitate the realization of goals of the organization. So, what is our ultimate goal? The organization should run smoothly. By adopting a good organizational structure, we can see how the goals of the organization can be achieved properly. Then another importance of organizational structure. It also helps in growth and diversification of the activities of an organization. Definitely, the organizational structure helps in proper communication, dissemination of knowledge, dissemination of the goals which the organization has set. So ultimately, it leads to the growth of the organization in the long run, as well as diversification of, if there is any diversification of organizational planning, then that can also be achieved through organizational structure. Another importance of organization of a good organizational structure is workers' participation in organizations' decision-making process. That means employees also can participate, cooperate, and improve the organization's total working process. And another importance of a good organizational structure is it also stimulates initiation and creativity thinking. So, people, if there is a good organizational structure, people can also be initiative and they have good creativity, and which also ultimately contributes to achieve the goals of the organization. Then implementation of policies and the achievement of goals becomes easier. So, if a good and healthy organization structure is adopted by the organization, the implementation of organization policies become easier, as well as goal achievement also becomes easier, as there is a proper coordination between the different departments, different employees, the hierarchy and the subordinate, and the authority and the subordinate. There is a proper hierarchy maintained, and the communication channel is also looked after. So the achievement of goals become ultimately easier. Then it also prevents duplication of functions and makes it possible to achieve maximum production with minimum effort. So these are some of the importance of organizational structure, why the organization should go for a good organizational structure design. Then we will discuss what are the elements of organizational structure. The different elements of organizational structure are work specialization, departmentalization, chain of command, span of control, centralization, and formalization. These are some of the basic elements of organizational structure and design. Now we will discuss one by one. We'll start with work specialization. So what is work specialization? The total work of the organization, the entire work which is there in the organization, are to be divided into small subgroups. So here what happens? Here three things happen. One, that is division of labor. Two, there is specialized skill set. And three, there is greater efficiency. Division of labor means the person who is efficient in one skill, he will be doing his particular job. So ultimately, he can be specialized in that particular skill, and which ultimately results the efficiency of the department as well as the organization. So here there is a synchronization of different skill sets with the efficiency of the organization. Then we come to departmentalization. So in the departmentalization process, what happens? Jobs are grouped together. Which jobs are grouped together? Like jobs are grouped together. The jobs which have relativity with each other will be grouped together. So these grouping activities are done as per function, product, customers and region. Like for example, if the activities are HR functions, then all the HR people will be kept in one department. If they are doing IT function, they will be kept in another department. So like this grouping of activities is done as per the speciality of the people or maybe as per the product. Different departments have different activities. Like IT people will do their activity, finance people will do their activity, the sales people will do their activity. So as per their function, there will be departmentalization. So that is called departmentalization. Then chain of command. So what is chain of command? The flow of command. When authority gives command, how it would go. Authority, the predefined authority will give command after organizational structure is designed and implemented. Whoever is the authority, he is already predefined, and that person will give command as per his territory. Whatever territory he wants to give command or he will give command, it is already decided. Then hierarchy of command should be top to bottom. In an ideal situation, the hierarchy of command is always top to bottom. The authority will give command to the lower level people or the subordinates. Then unity of command, that means one employee has to report to one boss. There has to be unity of command in ideal situation. If one employee will report to 2 to 3 bosses, then there will be lot of confusion. So chain of command is a very important element in organizational structure and design. Then span of control. The number of subordinates a manager can efficiently and effectively direct. That means the territory of one authority. How many people, how many subordinates one person can control or give command to. So there are two types of span of control. One is wider control, another is narrower control. Wider control, the instruction is given to too many people. That means the authority has a bigger territory where he will direct in different directions and he will control many people at a time. Narrower control is just opposite. Here instruction is given to less number of people. That means the control is more and the territory is very specified for the authority. So that is span of control. Now, another element is centralization of power and decentralization of power. So, what is centralization of power? Power is limited to very few people in the organization. That means power may be given to only 2 to 3 people, maybe 5 people in the organization. And all the people in the organization who are working, they have to report to these number of people, only 1, 2 or 3 people. And the power is centralized with them only. Whatever decision would be taken, immediately action should be taken, then this decentralization power works better. Then HR policies. So the employees of the organization have to follow various rules in the organization in day-to-day basis. So if the organization structure allows to follow many rules, then employees have to follow many rules. So what happens ultimately? The effectiveness of the employees low it goes down, lowers. Then if low formalization is there in the organizational structure, then less number of rules are to be followed. That means if employees follow very few rules, they focus more on their work rather than following the entire day with different rules. So low formalization is always advisable for any organization. Then what are the signs of a well-aligned, well-structured organizational structure? The signs are its ability to adapt and realign as and when needed. That means if the organization is flexible enough and it can adapt to any situation and realign its structure as and when required, then it is a good organizational structure. And to ensure long-term viability, an organization should adjust its structure to fit into new economic realities. So that means it has to be flexible. And organizational realignment involves closing the structural gaps impeding organizational performance. If there is any kind of structural gap is there in the organization, a good organizational structure tries to close down the structural gaps, which ultimately leads to organizational performance. Now we will see what are the types of structures, organizational structures. Vertical structures, flat structures, matrix structures, open boundary structures. Again, in vertical structures, there are functional structures and divisional structures. Flat structures, matrix structures. Again, in open boundary structures, there are hollow, modular, virtual, and learning structures. Now we will discuss one by one what are the different types of structures and what are their advantages as well as disadvantages. First, we will start with functional structures. The functional structures divides works and employees by specialization. So what is this? This is as per the skills of the employees, different functional areas are decided. Like for example, people belonging to sales and marketing, they have one functional department. People belonging to HR, they have one functional department. Employees belonging to accounting, they have accounts department. People belonging to research and development, they have another department. So as per the specialization, as per the skills of the employees, different departments, functional departments are decided. So in functional structures, employees report directly to managers of their function. That means for each functional area, there is a functional head. And ultimately, these functional heads will report to the higher authority. So, management from the above must centrally coordinate the departments. So here what happens, as per different functions, there are different departments as well as there are departmental heads. And these departmental heads finally report to the authority. And this authority will look after each department from the above. Now we will see what are the advantages and disadvantages of functional structures. So the advantages, first we'll discuss of the advantages of functional structures. The organization develops experts in its respective areas. If the employee works the same job, does the same job again and again, and he becomes an expert in the particular area. That means if he's, as per his skills, he is given a department, he is given a function to perform, then ultimately he becomes a specialist or expert in that particular area. Then individuals perform only tasks in which they are more proficient. So this is a very good point. Individuals are given tasks where they are efficient, they are competent, where their skill set matches. This is the main advantage of functional structure. Then this form of structure is logical and easy to understand. So it is a logical because as per his skills, as per the employee's skill, he is given the particular department. So that is very easy to understand. Then what are the disadvantages of functional structure? Functional structures disadvantages are people are in specialized job and they don't understand the difficulties of other functions or other departments. This is the main disadvantage. If the employee, any employee in the organization doesn't understand the problem with the other department's function, then that employee may sometimes complain of the other department. So in the process, there may be a mismatching or there may be a communication gap between the departments. So this is the main disadvantage of functional structure. The employees don't understand the difficulty faced by other departments. Cross-functional activity is also very difficult to promote. Sometimes people don't also cooperate with the other departments' people. And the third one is the structure also tends to be resistant to change. So resistant to change is also another disadvantage. As they are comfortable in the particular department with the particular function, any kind of change, if the organization gives them, they are not ready to accept that change as there is a comfort zone which is created by them over the years. So these are the disadvantages. Now we'll see the diagram. So this is one visual representation of the functional structure. The president is the head of the organization. Then these are the different functional departments: research and development, manufacturing, marketing, HR, finance and procurement. So the president, every departmental heads, they report to the president, and whatever is the functional department's activities, it is ultimately deposited with the head of the department of the functional area, and ultimately it is represented to the head of the organization. Now we'll come to the divisional structure. So in divisional structure, a company's divisions have control over their own resources and essentially operating like their own company with the larger organization. So how this divisional structure is designed, let me tell you first. So in divisional organizational structure, divisions are done as per the product or the customer or different functions, etc., etc. Let us take the example of product. Like for example, one company is producing masala. So as per food products, suppose one wing is producing, as if it is a divisional structure is implemented in that company, one wing is producing masala, another wing is producing cereals, another wing is producing cold drink, like this. So it is a food product organization where different divisions are producing different things. So as per the product, there is a division of the departments, division of different products. So, and as well as there is also regional division. So what is regional division? As per the regional area, suppose the organization is working in all over India, and the eastern part is a division, western part is another division, northern part is another division, and southern part is another division. So there are four divisions as per the region of the organization where it is operating. So region wise it can be implemented divisional structure, or product wise it can be implemented, function wise also it can be implemented. So divisional structure is a have control over their own resources. That means each division will handle its own resources. They are free to handle their resources. They are free to take their own decision. They are also free to implement their decision in their own division. So each division can have its own team, like marketing team, sales team, IT team, HR team, finance team, everything. So they have to set their a complete organizational structure separately. This structure works well for large companies. So divisional structure is meant for large companies always, as it empowers various divisions to make decisions without everyone having to report to just a few executives. So what happens here? This divisions, they take their own decision. They need not report to everybody in the organization. They only report to their divisional head or divisional authority. And it is a very flexible structure where instant decision can be taken by the divisional head. So we'll see what are the advantages of this divisional structure. It provides more focus and more flexibility on each division's core competency. So providing focus, they are focused to the employees are focused to their division only. They have nothing to do with other divisions. And flexibility is more because they need not ask for any permission from other divisions for decision making process. So flexibility is also there. It allows the division to focus on producing specialized products while also using knowledge gained from related divisions. So they can produce specialized products. As I said, if it is a food corporation, then some one division is producing masala, another division is producing cold drink, another division is producing cereals, like this. So they are, the masala division is specialized with masala. The cold drinks division is specialized with cold drinks. The serial division is specialized with cereals. So they are specialized in that particular product. It allows more coordination than functional structures. So how it allows more coordination? It is among the division, among the employees of the particular division, they are more, there is more coordination among the employees than the functional structure. Decision making authority pulls to lower levels of the organization enables, so decision making is faster and decision making is customized. These are the advantages. Now we'll see the disadvantages. So divisional structure can result in loss of efficiency and duplication of effort because each division needs to acquire the same resources. So there may be loss of efficiency. That means employees may not know what is happening in other divisions, where they are heading, how they are operating. They may not have that knowledge, and there may be loss of efficiency because they are confined to one division, and the duplication of effort may also happen in this case because same resources are adjusted everywhere. Same resources are used in each division. Employees with similar technical career paths have less interaction. See, here I can give you one example. Employees with, like for example, one person is an IT person who is working in masala division, and another person is working in the same company in the cold drink division. They have less interaction because they do not meet. Their divisions are different. So, but their career paths are same. If they do not have interaction, then they cannot be developed. Their development is not that much if they work together. If there is an interaction between the employees, then their career paths, their career planning and development would be different if they interact better. Divisions may be competing for the same customers. So the masala division, the cereals division, the cold drink division may have the same category, same group of customers may have. So there may be a competition between the divisions, so that there is a sales target given to each division. So there may be a competition between different divisions in the divisional structure. Each division often buys similar supplies in smaller quantities and may pay more for item. If the whole company is purchasing the raw materials and one division wise if it is purchasing, then there may be the same quantity may be purchased, but division wise maybe the cost may be more. If it is a bulk purchase, then cost would be less. If it is a division wise purchase, then cost might go more. So this is the graphical representation of the divisional structure. So president is the final authority. Division product X, division product Y, division product Z. So under each division there are also departments: R&D department, manufacturing department, marketing department, finance department, HR department. Here also there are departments under product division Y. Again product division Z. There are different departments. This is divisional structure. So what happens? The decision making is quicker. Each division takes its own decision. Each division buys the raw material of its own. They have their own customer base. So divisional structure is applied to larger organization. Ultimately, All the divisions report to the president or the highest authority. Now we'll see what is flat structure. Flat organizational structure is an organizational model where relatively few or no levels of middle management between the executives and the frontline employees. Its goal is to have a little hierarchy as possible, as little hierarchy as possible. That means hierarchies are less. It is a flat structure where they can directly report to the boss. It is the number of hierarchies are less. So decision making is quicker. The staff level employees usually report directly to the business owner. That is typically no formal management structure. So most of the startups which we are seeing nowadays have flat structure because the decision making is has to be very quick and very efficient, effective, time bound. So immediately there has to be decision making, for which startups are going for flat organizational structure. If a management level does exist, the chain of command from top to bottom in a flat structure tends to be very short. That means the chain of command is very quick. Immediately someone, like nowadays, you take decision through WhatsApp also. There is a group of people who are there working with the boss. Boss gives the instruction through WhatsApp or through mail, and immediately that decision is taken care of, is carried out. So flat structures doesn't believe in hierarchy of command. Like one authority will give command to another authority will give command to subordinate, then it will take so much of time to carry out a decision. But then in flat structure, each decision is taken very quickly. The span of control is wide. Span of control is wide means one authority is giving command to many people under him, wider number of people under him, with each management level controlling a broad area or group. Employees all report to one or few overall managers and are empowered to contribute to decision making. So in flat structure, everybody seems to own the business and they become a part of the decision making process. Now let us see what are the advantages of flat structure. Better communication and relationship between different job roles. So in a flat structure, communication is quicker, communication is better, and the relationship between different jobs are much better than the hierarchical level, than the tall structure or vertical structure. Better team spirit as there is less hierarchy. People can relate to each other very quickly and people can feel comfortable with the same level of people as hierarchy is less. The communication is simple and faster decision making is the chain of command is very short. Better ability for the business to change and adapt very quickly as and when required. Decision can be taken and change can be adopted. Greater job satisfaction for the employees because they are given autonomy many times. More self-direction can lead to more innovation and efficiency. Ability to lower operational cost because the decision is taken very quickly. Then flat structure has also some disadvantages. So what are the disadvantages of flat structures? Risk of generalization and confusion if it's not clear who to report. So this is a very point. This is a very intrinsic point. Risk of generalization, and there is a confusion whom to report. That means sometimes the employees who are working, they feel that we need not report to anybody because it is a flat structure. Sometimes they talk between themselves and they keep the whatever they discuss, they keep the discussion with them without reporting to the boss. And as the hierarchy is very less, the boss is associated to them as a friendly manner. So sometimes the communication or reporting is hampered by this. Then lower sense of accountability, as employees may have more than one boss. So what happens in flat structure? Everybody is accountable. All the employees work with a good humor, with a friendly manner, and boss is also sometimes becomes friend. So what happens? If people don't take responsibility, don't take accountability, then there would be a chaos in the organization. So, risk of power struggles is also there. So, people with similar position, they are not ready to obey anybody. They are not ready to obey each other. So, there is a power struggle. Everybody thinks I am more powerful than him. Then lack of employee specialism and specific job function. As it is a flat structure and there is a very it's not very strict. It's a kind of very loose type of structure. Then the specialized people are, there is a lack of specialized field. People cannot specialize in a particular area because of lack of command and specific job function. Lack of long-term growth or opportunity for promotion. So here what happens, as structures are flat, there is no opportunity of growth. Very less opportunity of growth because most of the people are at the same position, at the same level of the hierarchy. Then difficulties in scaling up and growing the company. So these are some of the disadvantages of flat structure. Then we'll see what is matrix structure. So matrix structure is a combination of functional and divisional structure. So what happens in a matrix structure? There is a dual command from two authorities. An employee has to report to two managers or two authorities who are jointly responsible for that particular employee's performance. Like for example, production department's head is one authority and sales department's head is another authority. So what happens here, there is a cross of command for the same employee. One employee has to report to two authorities. So that is called matrix structure. Typically, one manager works in an administrative function and another manager works in a business unit related to product, service, customer. So here what happens, there is a lot of confusion for the employee whom to report first and which work to do first. So that is called matrix structure. But some organizations, they adopt matrix structure for smooth running of the organization. That person who is getting dual command is also a valued person, valued employee who has to perform both type of job. So matrix structure is implemented in some organization for better performance of the organization. So advantages of matrix structures, it creates a functional and divisional partnership. What happens? The functional manager and the divisional manager, they both are, they work hand in hand and they give instruction to the employees and focuses on work more than on the people. So here what happens, they are more work oriented rather than employee oriented. It minimizes cost by sharing key people. Very important point. One person has to do different jobs, so it is minimizing the cost of share by sharing the key people. It creates better balance between time of completion and cost. The same person reporting to different departments, he is answerable to different managers, he performs better because he is the key person for some reason, for some area, and he is the key person. There is no need to hire two people, one person can manage, but timely it is completed. This is the advantage. But what about that person? We see that in the disadvantage. Responsibilities may be unclear, thus complicating governance and control. Reporting to more than one manager at a time can be very confusing for the employee who is carrying out the instruction. The dual chain of command requires cooperation between the managers. If there is no cooperation between these two managers who are giving instruction, then the employee who is carrying out the instruction is in dilemma, is in lot of pressure. And if one person is doing various kinds of jobs, then he will definitely be very stressed. When the function leader and the product leader make conflicting demands at times, the employee's stress level increases. And ultimately, what happens? The performance of the employee may decrease automatically. So, let us take one example here. If one person is reporting to the sales manager and the same person is reporting to the production manager, and they both are giving instruction, and sales manager is target oriented, production manager is also target oriented, and this person is very important for both the departments, and there is a demand from both the departments to complete the assignment in a particular time, then this person is stressed, and he will however do the job, complete the job in time, but the performance will definitely decrease. The type of output what he will give to sales department as well as production department will not be as per expectation. Employees spend more time in meetings and coordinating with other employees than to perform. So this will ultimately happen. The employee will spend more time in meetings and coordinating with other employees to complete the work, and coordinating with other employees under him to complete the work, and rather than focusing on his job. So performance ultimately will be hampered. So you see how the president, this is the matrix structure: product manager X, product manager Y, product manager Z. President is at the top, and there are different departments: R&D, manufacturing, marketing, HR, finance, procurement. These are the different departments, and these are the managers of different divisions. So the employee has to carry out the instruction from product manager X as well as the marketing manager. So both the managers, if they give instruction and if they give timeline to one person, then what will happen to his performance? But matrix structure is also adopted by various organizations because this increases organizations' efficiency. As well as employees' efficiency is also increased by the process. But employees cannot take this stress. Most of the employees cannot take this stress. So it is always advisable to avoid this matrix structure in the organization. Then open boundary structure. As this is the era of virtual organization, there is boundaryless organization. So, what is open boundary structure? There should not be any internal or external barrier for organizations. So, all the barriers are eliminated as this is the era of virtual organization. Virtual spaces, virtual organizations, these have replaced the infrastructure of the organization. So recent trends in structural forms remove the traditional boundaries of an organization. So typical internal as well as external barriers and organizational boxes are eliminated. And all organizational units are effectively and flexibly connected. So what happens if there is no boundary, if open boundary or boundaryless structures are adopted, then all the organizational departments, divisions, units are connected effectively as well as flexibly. Teams replaced departments. Now you must have heard, you must be knowing the departments are becoming redundant as there are teams taking up the works and there is a team leader. He looks after his own team and allots work to them. He is answerable and accountable for his team members' work. And the organization and suppliers also work very closely as parts of one company. The hierarchy is flat in open boundary structure. Hierarchy is always flat. Status and rank are doesn't matter. What is the status of this person? What is the status of that person? What is his rank? What is my rank? It doesn't matter in open boundary structure. And managers and employees participate in the decision making process. And here 360-degree feedback performance appraisal is very common as all work in the same platform. The advantages of open boundary structure: ability to leverage all employees' talents. Every employee's talents can be leveraged. Maximum can be drawn from the employees. Maximum profit can be drawn from the employees. Their talents can be exploited to the maximum level. Faster response to market changes. If there is a change in the market, if the competitors are doing better than this organization, immediately there can be some decision making and there can be some instant changes can be made. And there are no boundaries in the organization. Everybody can talk, discuss, immediately take a decision. Enhanced cooperation and information sharing. So information sharing becomes very fast in boundaryless structure. So functions, divisions and staffs. Then we'll see what are the disadvantages. Lack of strong leadership and common vision. As all are working in the same platform, leadership is minimized here. Time consuming process, as to implement boundaryless structure is very time consuming. To educate people about boundaryless structure is time consuming. The possibility of employees being adversely affected by efficiency, efforts, and the possibility of organizations abandoning change if restructuring doesn't improve effectively quickly. That means if people don't adapt quickly to the boundaryless structure, there is every possibility that they will quickly leave that change. They'll not adapt to that change, they'll not accept to that change, and very quickly they'll be harassed. They'll not be comfortable in that change. So this is the main disadvantage of boundaryless structure. Then, impact of contextual factors on organizational structure. So if the organization has decided one structure, what are the contextual factors which may impact the organization structure which has been implemented already? The origin and history of that organization. What changes have occurred in the ownership or location, whether the organization is privately founded, whether it is a private or public ownership, is the control divided among a few individuals or many people. So these factors also affect the organizational structure. Like for example, I'll give you one example here. If it is a privately owned and very few individuals own that organization, then it will go for a vertical structure, because the chain of control, the chain of command would be top to down, and there would be many hierarchies. If many people, if it is a public organization, then there would be a flat structure. Too many hierarchies may not be there, may be there, may not be there. Size of the organization, if it is a very big organization, then divisional structure. Location of the organization also leads to divisional structure. Products and services, that also may go for divisional as well as a functional structure. Technology, functional structure. Interdependence, matrix structure. So these are some of the contextual factors which will impact the decision of which kind of structure can be adopted in the organization. So interdependence, technology, products and services, location, size, ownership and control, origin and history. These will affect the owner of the organization to take a decision which type of organizational structure is to be adopted in the organization. So now let us sum up what we have read. We could know the importance of organizational structure, the elements which are there in the organizational structure, what are the elements, and the type of different type of organizational structure. The type of organizational structure is very important, and the vertical, flat, matrix and open boundary. These four are the four broad categories of organizational structure and design. So now thank you very much for your listening, patient listening. Thanks.